Okay, let's move on to Kentucky. Their over/under is set at either 7.5 or 8, depending where you look. 10-3 a year ago, 5-3 in conference, roughly 21st power ranking wise. Number 17 on offense, number 33 on defense, according to F plus. Projected to be about number 20 in the country, roughly the number 32 offense, number 18 defense, which is almost kind of a switch from a year ago. Should be they were almost a little better on offense last year, according to some of the power rankings, and they projected to be a little better on defense this year. Whether or not you agree with that, based on watching them play last year, might be a different story. But that's kind of just what the projections show. Mark Stoops entering his 10th season there at Kentucky. A little interesting here. So they did lose their offensive coordinator Liam Cohen, left for the Rams, but they did replace him with Rich. I'm going to probably mispronounce this. Scangarello, who was the 49ers quarterbacks coach. And he runs a similar offense. They feel pretty good about that, but I do worry a little bit about losing a guy like Liam Cohen, who was a very good offensive coordinator. Their quarterback, Will Levis, of course, getting some first-round love. We've been over that a little bit. I think is it fair to say that we both feel like if he was actually a first-round quarterback, he probably would have had a better touchdown-interception ratio than 24-13 last year?
That's fair to say. That is fair to say. I will say I watched him live in one game last year, and he has a great arm. But let's just remember too, he was at Penn State for a number of years, and they continually took Sean Clifford over him. So,
yep.
For what that's worth, yeah. I mean, Liam Cohen. I think you mentioned him leaving for the Rams job. He was like sneaky the key to their success last year. Yeah. Kentucky won 10 games, and I think that's why. I think he was a really big part of it. Him leaving is trouble. The number is 8, though. So their non-conference is Miami of Ohio, Youngstown State, Northern Illinois, and then they do get Louisville. But you're going 4-0. You're going to win all those. What do you think? You got a good feel on them?
So I like this team. I feel like Stoops has turned them into a very high floor, solid team. But yeah. I'm a little bit with you on the Liam Cohen was kind of the key to their success a year ago. I'm not convinced they were quite as good as their record might have showed a year ago. They were close. That sounds like a slam. I'm not saying they were a bad team or even an average team. I'm saying they were a good team. I'm not sure they were a 10-win SEC team. And losing Wan'Dale Robinson, that hurts. They lost some guys on both sides of the line. They lost some really good players. And I know they have Chris Rodriguez, one of the best running backs probably in the conference. They have a couple of wide receiver transfers. Tavion Robinson comes in from Virginia Tech and Javon Baker from Alabama. They also lost their offensive line coach. And I know they again, kind of like the offensive coordinator hire, I think they feel pretty good about the replacement. But you're still losing probably maybe one of their most important position groups coach over the last 5 years since in their kind of resurgence. They've built a lot of their success the last while on their offensive line, and it's going to be really hard to replace that guy it's going to be really hard to just be just as good going forward as you have been. So it's not like I'm down on them, but I am on the under 8. I don't feel amazing about it, but I lean that way, and I just wouldn't be shocked to see this team go 7-5. They returned a decent amount of production on defense, but they did lose some studs again, like I mentioned. Mm-hmm. Not sure how I feel about their cornerbacks. I feel like they'll probably be pretty solid everywhere on defense except maybe at corner. It's Kentucky. They might figure something out. It feels like they always find a way to piece together a machine that works pretty well. And I have a lot of respect for Mark Stoops and the job he's done there. We all remember when Kentucky was basically an afterthought when it comes to football. Absolutely. And he has turned them into a top 4 team, at least, in the SEC East. And that's not nothing. That is something. And just the fact that you could have an SEC team with an over-under set at 8, and you have to think about it, that means that's a good team.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of respect for Kentucky. I just think that there's maybe just a few too many pieces missing from a year ago, that maybe causes them to go under 8 this year?
The schedule that they have in week 2, they go to Florida, which I think that'll be a really good game. I love, like, the Florida Kentucky games have been really entertaining the last number of years. Really, Florida and Kentucky. Florida had that really long winning streak against Kentucky. Kentucky then snapped it a number of years back, and
Right.
Those games have been entertaining. I think that game at Florida. Okay, in order to really kind of bear down on how you're feeling about each team, you need to figure out where do you see them ranked at the end of the year? So Georgia is going to be number 1 in the East, but you still have 6 other teams, and you're going to figure that Vanderbilt is last. So you're down to 5. So you know your team in first, you know your team in last, and who do you have finishing, 2 through 6? Someone has to finish second in this, and they can't all be 7 and 5. Someone's going to win these games, and I've been trying to figure out who it is, but why wouldn't I take Kentucky? They're the model of consistency. They have probably the best quarterback out of the rest of the teams in the SEC East.
Oh,
well,
no.
You could maybe say Spencer Rattler. Sorry. Spencer
Hooker.
Rattler, Hendon Hooker, Spencer Rattler have. Well, okay, but if we're really buying in to the Will Levis hype that he is a first rounder, number 1 overall, remember we saw that. I don't know. I'm torn on that. He has the talent. We'll say that he at least has the talent to become that. He wasn't last year. And Stetson Bennett was, yeah. Okay.
While you go in circles in your head trying to figure this one out, let me throw a few things out there. So the only game on their schedule that you really feel they can't win is the Georgia game.
Yes.
And last year, that was a road game.
Yep.
This year it's a home game, which almost hurts because you're playing Georgia at home. You're not going to win. So in essence, you're kind of wasting a home game. And you have to go, if you're Kentucky, you have to go to Florida, you have to go to Ole Miss, you have to go to Tennessee, and to Missouri. You probably get Missouri, but the other 3 are all in that toss-up range. And those might be games you need to go over here. And I don't like that they're all on the road.
So who are you taking to go second in the East? Because really those games at Tennessee and at Florida and South Carolina, you get South Carolina, but someone has to win those games. And I know they're coin flip games, but you can't just someone has to win them too. So because I was on this whole thing Georgia's going to go over and literally every other team's going to go under, and that was a real possibility. So I'm going to take Kentucky. I'm going to go over on 8. I think 9 and 3 is more likely than 7 and 5. I really feel comfortable with their coaching staff, and Kentucky they're the model of consistency. They're so comfortable. And I think they're not as volatile as the other teams in the East. So they're going to be my pick to finish second. I'm going to go over on the Wildcats.
Okay. Sounds good.